Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of the Spark.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance is honored to serve the Memphis community for over 60 years. We've always focused on supporting our community and believe in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance is proud to be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Additional funding for the Spark is provided by Christian Brothers University, Mueller Industries, YMCA of Memphis in the Mid-South, Meriton, United Way of the Mid-South, MyTown Movers, MyTown Roofing, MyTown Miracles, and by Serves.
This month on The Spark, our theme is health and healing. We'll learn more about a nonprofit connecting kids to real food through a network of learning gardens and food literacy programs. An organization that has been serving meals to the poor and homeless in Memphis since 1870, and a biotech startup that's discovered a new way to leverage honey to advance the way our loved ones heal. We'll also share a special moment from our Spark Awards 2018. Ever been excited by a new idea? Inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes making a difference in their own way so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders who are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They're a nonprofit connecting kids to real food through a network of learning gardens and food literacy programs. I'm here with the regional director for Big Green Memphis, Lisa Ellis. And Big Green Memphis, let's start with some history, some context. Relatively new nonprofit, but already a ton of learning gardens here in the Mid-South. So let's start. Give us a history lesson for Big Green Memphis.
Yes, Big Green is based out of Boulder, Colorado. As a national nonprofit, we started in 2011. In Memphis, we started in 2015. And currently, by the end of the school year, we will have 128 learning gardens in Memphis, with many schools integrating garden-based curriculum and just learning more about real food and how to lead a healthy lifestyle.
And talk about how it works, because these are in partnership, and obviously you bring a lot of resources to bear to bring these to fruition, but talk about the process.
Sure. If a school is wanting to get into our program and the Big Green and get a Big Green learning garden at their school, we need them to be in one of the 3 school districts in which we serve right now, which currently is Achievement, Jubilee, and Shelby County Schools. They need to put together a garden team for their school. 4 or 5 people. We don't want the garden to be just a one-man show. We want there to be a contribution from various groups, whether it's parents, teachers, administration, and then students or garden clubs and things like that. And then they need to have space for a garden, space that can get sunlight so that things can actually grow. Once they have those things put together, if they go online and fill out an application, they can get in the queue to start working with Big Green.
And talk about how long it takes in terms of, once they fill out the application and start bringing the resources together on your end, then mobilizing. Share a little bit more on that side of it.
Sure. We do have a waiting list right now, and we're filling up actually for the next school year. So, it can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months before the garden is actually installed, but you'll start working with our team early. First team you really work with on our end is project management to help design the space in your school with our landscape architect. And then you'll start to work with our program team, sort of telling you what to expect when you get the garden, how to integrate it into your school culture so that it becomes really part of the school in addition to being part of the curriculum. It's a beautiful space, oftentimes in an area of the school that's underused. So to put this really bountiful garden, really beautiful green space in the school can really bring a lot to it. So you will start working with our team right away, but the garden could easily take 6 to 12 months, just depending on how many schools are in line in front of you.
Well, and then I think, let's talk about the curriculum, because I think this is one of those where in many cases the children don't have the exposure to how to grow fresh fruits and vegetables. Mm-hmm. And so there's that piece in terms of the education, but it's also too then in terms of the more they learn, that then leads them to make healthier choices with the food that they choose to eat. So share kind of both sides of that.
Sure. I think, our program is what makes us so unique. We don't just put it in the garden and say, good luck, hope you plant and do well and, hope you enjoy your garden. Really, when they get the garden, that's when the fun sort of begins with our team. You'll start working with our program team on, the basics. The first year we really focus on harvesting, growing, watering, really just the basics. You don't have to have a garden club. You don't have to have a green thumb to start working our garden. We'll teach you all that with our program team. And then secondly, when you really master those basic garden skills, you can integrate curriculum. So on the elementary and middle school level, it's a health and nutrition curriculum called Garden Bites. And on the high school level, it's a socio-enterprise entrepreneurship curriculum called Real Food Lab. So just amazing way to build just a really great business, but base it through a food lens. You know, keeping the food in your community. Some of the things that we find really important are, you know, that people are eating the food where they're growing the food.
Right.
So being able to do a business based on that, that you learn through Real Food Lab, it really gives you some pretty neat, you know, experience that you really don't often get till college or even graduate school. So very exciting.
Well, so you have the entrepreneurial angle, you have the education angle, and you also have fighting the food deserts, which I think is just as important in our city. What are the ultimate goals when you talk about your efforts, especially local? What are some of the goals? I mean, you already from a milestone standpoint, to your point, I mean, you're already well over 100, so growing rapidly, which is awesome. But what are some of the major goals?
You know, we're really always focused on increasing food literacy in the school community, increasing likability and preference for fruits and vegetables. That's really important, and then increasing access to real food in schools. So, you know, really. Kids will most often eat something that they grow. So being able to get them to try something like radishes or peppers that they've never tried before, if they've grown it, they're most likely going to try it. So it's just a really great way to get students to say, oh, I didn't think I liked tomatoes, but I really like tomatoes. And then they can go in the cafeteria and say, why don't we have tomatoes in here? You know, we really like tomatoes. We grow them in our garden. So, you know, if it's really just, you know, changing that preference and the exposure to real food. And then we also teach them why it's good for them. So we don't just say, oh, you should eat this. We show them why they should be eating that and why that food, you know, not only nurtures the planet, but it also nurtures their body. And, you know, eating a healthy diet can just lead to a much more healthy lifestyle, which is the ultimate goal for us.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, talk about how we can get involved, how we can help. Obviously, financial contributions to underwrite your efforts, but how else do we get involved and help?
Sure. There are a number of ways to get involved with us. We have a local regional board that we really use for, you know, keeping in touch with our community. You can insist on a planting day at a school. We take volunteers for that. Another great way is just to contact us if there's a school that you see a learning garden in your neighborhood and you'd like to get involved with that school. We could connect you to that school and take on a heavier load of helping that school with their garden, whether it's, you know, working with them on the weekends or after school with their kids. We can definitely connect you. We've got a lot of schools that would love your help.
Awesome. So tell us how to reach out, connect. Website, where do we go?
Yes, you go to biggreen.org and just click on Memphis and you'll be able to get to us very easily. We are, you know, excited to welcome you to our Big Green family.
Well, Lisa, we greatly appreciate all you do and appreciate you coming on the show and sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're an organization that's been serving meals to the poor and homeless in Memphis since 1870. I'm here with Martin Johnson. He is the Director of Homeless Ministries for St. Mary's Catholic Church Soup Kitchen. Let's start 1870, so a very rich legacy here in the Mid-South. Give us a little bit of history lesson.
It is. What happened was the church, the cornerstone was laid in 1864, and it was finished in 1870, which, if anyone knows, during that time, it was post-Civil War, yellow fever epidemic. There were many struggles going on, so the back door of the church beginning to get knocks at the door, people asking for food, how we could help. So what happened was they started asking the ladies of the church would they fix soup, and they started. It got so big at one point they assigned brothers to the task. Franciscan brothers are the ones that built the church, and so in the end what happened is just it continued. It's the longest continually running soup kitchen in all of North America.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Through that whole period it's been running. So what happens is at 6:30 we will open the doors, we'll let them come in and we'll feed coffee and pastry. At 9 o'clock we do our big serving, which is the soup, 2 sandwiches and a snack. And right now we're running 6 days a week.
So 6 days a week, I mean, it's still continuously going, obviously. So talk about on your end volunteers, because obviously this thing is volunteer powered. You need a lot of help to have volunteers to activate. So talk about the power of volunteerism.
Well, our volunteers are really the ones that make this whole thing run as well as it does. You know, we're regulated just like a restaurant, so we have to, you know, maintain health department regulations, and you know, the volunteers that come in do a lot of cleaning, and they take care of all those things. So we open volunteers up Monday through Saturday. You can volunteer 7 to 10, At 10 o'clock, we're done, and go about your day. So it's really easy. We make it pretty simple to go online, and stmarysoupkitchen.org, click into volunteer, and sign up for whatever day you want to come down and experience feeding the homeless. We also we have a clothing ministry as well that we've been running for about 10 years. So we serve food and clothes on Saturday, but Monday through Friday we serve soup every day. So,
on your end, share the power of what you're doing, because you have a chance, obviously, to see your efforts firsthand, to see the impact firsthand. You don't have to name any names, but give us a little bit of a storyline in terms of the impact you're able to have.
The most memorable one is I had a lady and her 4 children come in, and we served them. And afterwards, they were finished, and she pulled me to the side and she said, if it hadn't been for y'all, we wouldn't have eaten today. And those are the things that really kept me around, that really just touched my heart and keeps me going every day, because I see there are people who are just, falling on hard times or maybe just in a little bit of struggle in their life that need a little bit of help. And, those are simple things that we can do just to make sure they get some food or some clothes or something, just to help them out and get back on their feet.
Well, and these are our neighbors. And I think, too, on your end, what you're talking about is there's a certain piece of this where food, yes, it's the physical nourishment, but it's also, too, the spiritual nourishment. And it's the chance for us to come, and especially as a volunteer, to come and to have empathy, to show empathy, but also, too, to build these relationships with our own fellow citizens here in our own city.
Exactly. It's hands-on. You're right there with what's going on. You're seeing it with your own eyes and feeling it with your own heart. So, it touches everybody that comes down there to serve. And I can give you the personal experience for me is I originally started volunteering in 2011. And I was going through a difficult time. I was trying to get closer to God, and I was reading Isaiah 58. It clearly spoke to me. It said, if you want to be close to me, feed my people, clothe my people, shelter my people, which I called the next day. I started volunteering. It just kind of grew from there and into the position that I am. But, the things on the daily basis that I see is what kept me there. So it keeps me running. I get there about 3 o'clock in the morning. So 6 days a week, 3 o'clock in the morning, it comes early. But, what gets me out of bed is knowing people need me. People need us to help them. So, this is a perfect opportunity for people who want to get involved with what's going on in the city. Before this, I didn't even know St. Mary's existed. I had no idea, and when I first started volunteering, that year we served 92,000 meals out of a tiny little kitchen.
Wow.
And it was just overwhelming. I just couldn't believe that many people needed help. But in our city, we have a lot of people that need help. So,
how many on average, how many meals per week?
Well, we serve about 300 meals a day. So, roughly about 1,800 in a week. That's over 5,000 every month. So,
it's impressive. At the same time, too, I think it speaks to the need, being able to serve our own community. So, as we wrap up, you mentioned the website, but talk about how we can go online and sign up to volunteer. Talk about the financial contributions, because obviously that's a piece of this to be able to underwrite the efforts as well.
We make it really simple. stmarysoupkitchen.org. You can volunteer there. You can donate there. We have it all right there on the screen. When it pulls up, it'll say donate or volunteer. You just click into volunteer. It'll pull up a calendar, and you'll be able to pick whatever day you want to come down there. And then we take PayPal, or we accept direct checks or things of that nature, because we're fully individually funded. We take no money from the federal government at all. So this is independent. We raise money to run this kitchen, and it's quite an expense.
Well, when you look at it being volunteer powered, but also independently powered, that's where we as a community get to come together alongside and help serve.
And believe it or not, it happens every time. We need something. It always falls right into place because we have such good people in the city. So I'm grateful for that, for sure.
Well, I greatly appreciate you coming on the show and sharing, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
The Spark Awards annually recognize and celebrate individuals and organizations that have made outstanding contributions to the community. This year's recipient of the Nonprofit Award for organizations with budgets between $1 and $5 million is Alzheimer's and Dementia Services of Memphis.
Alzheimer's and Dementia Services has been around since 1983, taking care of those on a daily basis who have Alzheimer's or dementia, to give them a quality, meaningful day while their loved ones go home and sleep or go to work or just take time to do things for themselves. Dementia is the overall term. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. Dementia is a neurocognitive disorder that interferes with your memory, short-term memory at first and then later remote memory, and it interferes with your ability to do daily tasks, your reasoning and judgment. So it's a very devastating disease, but they are suffering from this disease in all different stages and need some place to go during the day. Our mission is dual. It's to the person with the diagnosis, but also to their family, because they're just as much a victim of what's going on. During the day, those with Alzheimer's or dementia come to the center, and we do all these different kinds of activities. Nobody comes thinking they're coming to a daycare. Some are coming to work for us, some are volunteering, some are doing church work, some are coming to a memory booster club, and it makes them feel good because you're talking about adults who've been productive adults all of their lives, and all of a sudden they have this devastating illness and they can't do things on their own. So we want to glory in what they can do, keep their abilities as sharp as we can. We're not going to change what the disease is going to do, but hopefully we can flatten out the slope a little bit so that they can enjoy the day. We take care of usually around 205 families a year. Part of that is because they stay with us longer. Our average stay is 671 days, and that means that they're not in an assisted living or a nursing home. They're able to stay home with their families. We see the impact of the day on the person with the diagnosis by their smiles. We accept them where they are, and they can socialize with people who aren't going to judge them. That's how we judge. If we don't get the smile, then we have to work harder tomorrow. One of the things is that we really feel like it's a blessing given the opportunity to take care of these people because they have wonderful memories that they share. You truly get to know them, and you get to know the caregivers and their stories and what they're not insulated because they're taking care of somebody with dementia. They still have their teenagers or their house note and all the things that impact our lives. So you can imagine being a 24/7 caregiver can be devastating. But our team really gets in and on a personal level takes care of people, and we think that's wonderful.
They're a biotech startup that's found a way to leverage honey to help advance how our loved ones heal. We're here with Kayla Rodriguez-Graff. She is the co-founder and CEO, and we also have Dr. Isaac Rodriguez, who is the Chief Science Officer, co-founder with Sweet Bio. And let's start Sweet Bio. Before I even get into the history, describe what Sweet Bio does.
Yeah, so we've discovered this new way to use honey, Manuka honey particularly, in wound care products that advance the wound healing process. And Dr. Isaac Rodriguez invented it.
Who happened to be your brother? Who happens to be your brother? Not past tense, current tense.
Much older brother, much older brother.
But describe what Manuka honey is, because this is a medical grade. It's very different than the typical honey you would buy off the shelf at a grocery store.
Yeah, so Manuka honey comes from New Zealand. It's the flowers that the bees pollinate from, and they bring some special compounds from the flower into the honey, and that makes it more medical grade. So they filter out their pollen so the patients don't have an allergic reaction, and they sterilize it so it becomes medical. So we use this more powerful honey in our ingredients, but typically honey is used in very topical, messy, and short-term applications. And what we invented at the University of Memphis when I was a faculty there was incorporating this amazing ingredient into a long-term, non-messy implantable device that can help regenerate different types of tissues.
And so already you're looking at whether it's dental, advanced wound care, even in the veterinary space. I mean, there's a wide range of applications here for your technology.
Yes.
Describe kind of the different areas of where you see this going and already where it is going.
Yeah, so when Dr. Isaac Rodriguez and Dr. Gary Bolin invented this technology, it was originally for use in dental, for an implant procedure where you needed to regrow the gums after an oral surgery. So they invented this product called a membrane. It's a thin patch-like material that dissolves in the body as your body takes it over. So while they invented it for dental, what they truly innovated was this patch that can heal all over the body. And what we realized over our now 4-year history is that there is a larger need in the wound care space. There are 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day, and many of them are suffering from conditions like pressure ulcers or bed sores, diabetic foot ulcers, and tooth loss, which are all things that our material can solve. So initially we're going into the wound care space, which we expect to be on the market in the next quarter. In veterinary, we're growing that business as well. And then dentistry, our original need, our original love, will be in there shortly after.
Talk about your kind of trek to Memphis, because I think what makes this really interesting is both of your storylines, and especially obviously being brother and sister is a piece of this too, and obviously now your team has expanded, but you've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, and also too the entrepreneurial ecosystem that you're a part of and a heavy part of now is a part of this. So give a little bit of kind of your teaser backstory in terms of coming to Memphis and plugging into this ecosystem here.
So we're not originally from Memphis, we're from Virginia. Our family's from Puerto Rico originally. But I moved here in 2013 not knowing where Memphis was on the map. It really is just one of those, where is it? Sure, I'll come. I have an opportunity to work at the University of Memphis. So I just took a chance on the city, and it really was an amazing opportunity because the city's trying really hard for us to be ingrained in it, give us a voice in multiple boards or however we are, wherever we are. And so it started off really as just a University of Memphis gig, and it turned into, this is a great product, and I called Kayla with the business background, is this a great company? And she could take it over a little bit more from there, but we stayed in Memphis because we believe that this city is the best opportunity for us to grow our business.
And I know that BioWorks, I mean, you have a long history already of working with the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and that was a big part of choosing Memphis, but also to staying here. So talk about kind of that side of it.
Yeah, you nailed it. So I was in San Francisco at the time, thought I would be in high tech, and even sold my car to learn how to code. I thought I was going to be out there as a lifer in San Francisco, but Isaac called about this technology, and so immediately we applied to accelerators. One in the Valley, the top in the world, and one in Memphis, the 0 to 510 accelerator through BioWorks at the time. And we're sitting kind of in our respective place, Memphis and San Francisco, and we got accepted to both. And so we had this very humbling decision, where do we go? And startups are all about risk, how do you manage your risk? And so when we laid all the risk on the table and said, okay, where can we get an academic and a business person in a medical device startup up to speed as quickly as possible? Memphis has the medical device ecosystem with over 50 medical device companies. The research institutions, U of M, St. Jude, UT. You've got the entrepreneurial ecosystem with Epicenter, StartCo, the Greater Memphis Chamber, and then you have Southern Hospitality. So when we thought of a ripe environment for us to grow, this was it. But we've stayed because we've had unbelievable support and access to the resources we need. Whether it's StartCo giving us our first home when we needed office space, or Epicenter giving us our first really big press that helped us raise funding, to now the University of Memphis providing our new home, the Hive, we're calling it lovingly, and access to lab resources. I mean, that access is invaluable, and the cost of living here also made it a no-brainer for us, so we're thrilled.
And both of you, right from the get-go, plugged into the community, so serving on boards, you're everywhere in terms of supporting nonprofits. Speak, just a little bit on that regard of truly being a part of the fabric of the community and using your resources to give back.
Yeah, I think one thing that struck me is when I moved here, they said, great, you're here, now what's going to keep you here? And they really wanted to hear our voice on what's going to keep us in Memphis. So the first thing was Mayor Luttrell's Young Professional Council, then Mayor Strickland's transition team, and just understanding the voice of young professionals and what's going to get our city to the next level. But on the nonprofit side, we grew up humbly with parents that worked hard, always giving back. We received scholarships. We want to make sure other people receive scholarships as well. So we got involved with I'm involved with New Memphis Institute, Seeding Success, STS, who won one of the Spark Awards for the nonprofit, small nonprofit. Kayla's involved with Epicenter on the business side, also with Girls
United Way,
United Way
Women.
and women. So we, it's not directly related to Sweet Bio, but that's exactly what we love to do personally. And through that, we've been making some amazing connections, like with Sweet Bio, with the community, and just being known as people who care about the community. And we're going to continue to do that because we want to leave Memphis in a better place than we found it.
Which we love. So tell us all where we can follow the conversation, learn more about Sweet Bio.
Yes, so sweetbio.com is our website, @SweetBioCo is our Twitter. Please chat with us. And then my email is kayla@sweetbio.com, isaac@sweetbio.com. We would love to hear from you. We will be raising a round. We will be growing our business, commercializing. We will be growing our team. So 2019 is going to be a year of explosive growth for Sweet Bio, and we can't wait to show you what we can do.
Well, Kayla, Isaac, thanks for all you do and for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
When it comes to health, nutrition is a key part of the recipe for success, just like physical fitness, connection to family and friends, and a sense of purpose in life and in our community. It's making sure that our families and children have access to fresh fruits and vegetables and understand the value of having a balanced, nutritious diet, which is the focus of Big Green Memphis and their learning gardens. It's taking care of those who need our help to make sure they're physically fed and mentally and spiritually fed, like St. Mary's Catholic Church Soup Kitchen is doing and has done for so long. And it's also making sure that if something happens, there's a support system in place to heal as quickly and effectively as possible. We're blessed to have a thriving biomed industry here in Memphis and companies like Sweet Bio, which are not only innovating and transforming the industry, but pouring back into our city with their servant leadership and engagement. So thank you for watching The Spark. To learn more about each of the guests, to watch past episodes, and to share your stories of others leading by example, visit WKNO.org and click on the link for The Spark. We look forward to seeing you next month, and we hope that you'll continue joining with us to create a spark for the Mid-South.
Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of The Spark.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance is honored to serve the Memphis community for over 60 years. We've always focused on supporting our community and believe in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.